sugar consumption and type 1 diabetes, science, myths, and meaning. Topics: what type 1 diabetes really is, why this topic matters to me, how type 1 diabetes affects the body, media, culture, and technology influences, why this topic is important, habits that support well being, positives and negatives, faith and ethics, takeaways. Definition and overview. Type 1 diabetes, T1D, is an autoimmune disease where the body's immune system attacks and destroys the beta cells in the pancreas that makes insulin. Without insulin, blood sugar rises can become dangerous. Type 2 diabetes, T2D, is very different. It usually develops later in life and is linked to insulin resistance, genetics, and lifestyle factors like diet and exercise. A common myth that is eating sugar causes diabetes. This is not true for type 1 diabetes. Sugar doesn't cause the autoimmune attack. For type 2 diabetes, eating too many calories, including sugar, over time can contribute to weight gain and insulin resistance, but it's still not the sole cause. Understanding this difference matters because it changes how we talk about prevention and management. How does type 1 and type 2 diabetes differ? Type 1 diabetes is a result of the body not making enough insulin. It's caused by immune system reactions. It often starts in childhood. In the case of my son, we found out when he was 13. Symptoms come on quickly, treated with insulin injections to help control the sugars. Type 2 diabetes, on the other hand, the body doesn't respond to insulin. The lifestyle factors and genetics contribute to type 2 diabetes. It's more common in the middle age. Symptoms develop slowly and can be managed with drugs and lifestyle changes. Why did I choose this particular topic for my subject matter presentation? Firstly, my 13-year-old son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes this year, and it did change how we see food and health, how we look at the package labels, etc. It was kind of a shock that up until then I didn't realize that young kids could have any type of diabetes. I also work in information technology at a sugar beet cooperative, so I see how sugar moves through our supply chain every day, more so from the production side to getting shipped out, and have some familiarity with where it gets shipped to. The combination of the two made me want to understand the truth about sugar, diabetes, and share some of what I learned. Normally, insulin helps move glucose from blood cells or from blood into cells for energy. In type 1 diabetes, the immune system destroys the cells that make the insulin in the pancreas, and so glucose builds up in the blood since there's no way to transport it from the blood through the cell wall into the cell. People with type 1 diabetes need insulin through injections or a pump, and they monitor blood sugar with finger sticks or CGMs. Media myths related to type 1 diabetes. Social media and even some news outlets often confuse type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes, leading people to believe that sugar causes type 1 diabetes. This information can make life harder for families dealing with type 1 diabetes, especially when they're first starting out and trying to learn things. The cultural influence. Sugar is everywhere. There's birthday parties, holidays, advertising. Our culture celebrates sweet foods, and marketing often targets kids. makes managing type 1 diabetes more challenging because carbs need to be counted and balanced with insulin. It was a tough first Halloween for my son, as an example, because obviously Halloween is all about getting candy and sweet treats, and for him, he had to kind of count everything that he was eating before he was able to eat it, instead of doing like the other kids did, which was just opening and gorging themselves. Technology impact, a continuous glucose monitors, which my son uses the Dexcom, and insulin pumps that have changed the game. They did teach my son how to use the monitor where you stick yourself just to make sure you could use it in case the Dexcom doesn't work. But when paired with the insulin pump, once they've allowed him to have it, he shouldn't actually really need to monitor his blood sugar so much, because the pump will take care of that. So the CGMs give real-time blood sugar readings and alerts, reduce finger sticks, and improving safety. Pumps are automated in some delivery systems. They help blood sugar to stay in range and reduce stress for the families and for those who have type 1 diabetes. The tools can make living with type 1 diabetes manageable, but they can be expensive and not everyone has access. We haven't had to pay for the pump, but I can say with our insurance, at least a 3-month supply of the glucose or the Dexacoms, excuse me, are $225. I just actually picked those up, so should be interesting when I see what the pump adds to that cost. So why does this topic matter? About 9 million people worldwide live with type 1 diabetes. Many families struggle with misinformation. Misunderstanding the disease can lead to stigma and poor decisions about diet and care. Education and access to technology can make a huge difference in the quality of life for those who suffer with type 1 diabetes. Positive habits to make sure that you're practicing for your well-being. Related to that would be to build balanced meals. Vegetables need proteins, whole grain, and limit added sugars. Learning carb counting and match insulin to food with help from the care provided team. They actually give you a formula that you use based on your insulin resistance, etc. And initially, it takes a little finagling to get that formula correct. Exercise, good sleep, and stress management can also help keep blood sugar more stable. Some positives and negatives that I've discovered both as I researched this particular presentation and just experience from my son. Some of the positives: technology has improved life for people with type 1 diabetes. The monitors, insulin pumps, and automated systems make blood sugar control easier and safer. There's more awareness today than ever before. Support communities, help families share tips and encouragement. Research continues to advance, giving hope for better treatments and maybe even a cure in the future. Some negatives, however: myths about sugar causing type 1 diabetes still spread online and in conversations, which can lead to stigma and blame. Processed foods and sugary snacks are everywhere, making healthy choices harder for kids and family. Certainly, it opened my eyes when we started looking at the labels and how many carbs are actually from sugar. Some sugar substitutes have mixed evidence about long-term safety, which adds confusion for people trying to make good, healthy choices. I know for me, faith means practicing stewardship, taking care of the body God gave us, and making choices that support health and well-being. Sometimes not as faithful in that as I should be, but that does include eating in moderation and using resources wisely. It also means thinking about ethics in the food industry, especially as somebody who works in the food industry. Sugar is a huge part of our economy, but companies have a responsibility to be honest about the health impacts and avoid misleading marketing. Someone who works in the sugar industry and has a child with type 1 diabetes, I feel the tension between business and health. My faith challenges me to look for a balance, supporting my family's health and working in a field that produces sugar. And certainly, as in all things, in moderation, sugar is not necessarily a bad thing, but it is much more prevalent in our day-to-day products when it comes to our foods and drinks than I ever realized before. The key takeaways from this presentation is that sugar does not cause type 1 diabetes. It's important to focus on balanced nutrition and have accurate information. Use of technology and working with your care team can make the process of living with type 1 diabetes much easier. It's always good to keep learning, stay informed about new research, um, especially now that obviously we have a child who has that. We pay much more attention to it than we did previously. That is my presentation. Thank you.